Alright, welcome back everybody. We are working on an old one. Yeah, this is an old homelite, XL12. When my dad used to work for Asplin, this is what they ran. The XL12s and the Super XLs, homelites. And that's probably back when they were made by Textron, probably. Oh, there it is. This is a homelite XL12. Yeah, I believe that says Textron, that division of Textron, or Textron. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to say that's probably a Tilson carb. She's got a pretty good sized bore. Probably can stick my thumb in that just about, almost. Alright, so one of the things that was said is that it needs, let's see, wants me to get it running. And he said it had a gas leak right here. I thought the grommet was bad, but I don't think the grommet looks bad. I think this hose doesn't seal up in the grommet anymore because it's hard and it has shrunk. So we're gonna repair that. And fuel is pouring out of this cap because there's supposed to be a little filter in there, or a breather. It's like brass. A bunch of brass pins are supposed to be shoved in that, and this doesn't have it anymore. I'm not sure if a duckbill is supposed to be behind that so that air can get in, but fuel and air can't get out. Nuts, and started making my adjustments to it to get it snug back up, and I'm having difficulty getting it to move. So I flipped it up to take a look at the bottom so I didn't have to pull the side cover off. And I happened to notice there was a large gap between that nut and the washer there. And so I did that, and I was able to turn the nut. So I don't know if somebody's had this thing apart for some reason, because it almost felt like earlier when I was trying to take my wrench and push the chain along, that I was trying to push that under compression, which means that the sprocket would be locked up, and I'm turning the engine over trying to move the chain, and I shouldn't be able to do that. So I'm going to have to take a look at that sprocket, see what we can do about this hose. I should have some here, and see what we can do about that, if anything. I might be able to find something on the internet to replace that with, so it's not spewing all over the place. Hot fuel, you don't want that hot into your exhaust or the hot motor. That would not be a good day. And then see if this thing will fire up and run. I might just take a look at that nut there and make sure everything's okay there, and I might try to fire it up anyway before I do anything else. It's just been a long time since I've heard one of these things run. All right, let me get you up in the stand, and we're gonna take a quick look, see what we got here. All right. I'm wondering if this is old enough to be points. This belongs to a guy at work, and he said he bought this saw years ago when he built his first home. He had bought a lot in a wooded area and cleared a lot to build his home. And this is the saw he said he did it with. And these homelite was a very good saw builder back in the day. I'm not sure they really exist anymore. And all the stuff that they build now is plastic, cheap. So I know they definitely don't build, that I'm aware of anyway, professional saws anymore. So everything looks okay in that area. That's a little bit worn right in that area. Let's see why this nut was loose. Maybe somebody tried working on it first. Ah, that's why. That's why. As you can see, that is your bearing cage. And there's 1, 2, 3 rollers left in it. So that's why somebody has taken this apart once before. He says he wants to get this one fixed up and give it to his son, so his son will leave his new saws alone. So I probably don't blame him there. Let me get my book and start taking some notes. Alright, I might try to see if I can get this thing to fire off, just to see if it will run. That way I'll know if I need to get carb parts or not. I have to put this back on because I don't want that clutch slinging itself out. Gotta have the clutch drum to push up against. It's kind of weird to use a bushing and then a bearing over top the bushing. I'll just give that a quick zip. This filter, when I took the cover off the filter, you can see how this side is sucked in, and how this side's still nice and true, and that side's nice and true, and that side, well, there's a gap there, so I don't see a whole lot of debris in there, so it may have happened to shrink up from sitting, but it's going to need a new filter. I never was care too much for these types of filters anyway, just for that reason. So give it a squirt, see what happens then. Well, they're just like steel. Not unless somebody's had that out and turned it around at some point. But actually, no, they're not. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was my fault. It probably would have fired up on its own. Clutch is no good, or the springs in it are no good, because at an idle, she's trying to turn, and you can hear when I was trying to slow it down and stop it with the scrunch that the engine was bogging down. Let's just fire up again. does run though. Got that old school sound to it. 5/16. Yep. See if this will come apart. Not gonna hammer on it too hard. It's turning. That's awesome. But these aren't the screws that hold the can to the cylinder though, so that's pretty cool. It's a 2-ring piston. It's got some scuffing, not too terribly bad. It does have a little bit of bleed by on compression. Big old wide exhaust port with a divider in the center of it, so the ring doesn't get caught. And look at that, there's my thumb, there's my finger. That's wide. So it does have a little bit of a baffle to it. Right there. That'll shut it up a little bit. I think that's louder than my Husqvarna 455. That cylinder looks great. This has got a dome piston to it, so that's pretty cool. So I think the saw is in good enough condition. Looking at the exhaust side, I would say the intake side is probably fine. I don't see a lot of debris inside of here out of the ordinary, so I would say that this side's fine. I wouldn't be able to see the piston is on this side anyway, but because this is a reed saw, so you got the carb here. This little black piece back in here is a reed. So if you know anything about the old saws or even dirt bikes, 2-stroke stuff, they had reeds in them, and that's what controlled your air fuel. That was, in a sense, your timing. So, not real familiar with reed stuff, but I know a little bit about it. Not enough to really teach anybody anything about it, but hopefully there's some helpful information for you on an old school homelite XL12. If so, hopefully you enjoyed the content. If so, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, send me some comments, let me know what you think. Be kind and help people when you can.